A few months ago I was trying out a new medication and one of the side effects was diarrhea. I didn't really think anything of it. That night I went to sleep, like I would any other night. But when I woke up I shat all over my bed. It was terrifying and I was like what the fuck. So anyways I was crying my eyes out and called my mom cause I didn't know what I was supposed to do. It was everywhere. So I got up and took a shower and then I went to school like nothing happened. I never told anyone other than my family. Girl anyway thank you for your submission. One time I was constipated in the morning because we wake up at 5 a.m. for school and so I took a laxative pill. My first class was theater and I had to poop really bad. The bathrooms in the locker rooms were locked and I couldn't use any other bathroom because people jewel all the time and so I had to keep my shit in. Once everyone including the teacher left to go to the auditorium, I found a toilet in the back of our class. I couldn't keep it in any longer so I took a fat shit and I couldn't get up because my asshole was burning so I sat there for 10 minutes. The teacher and all the kids in my class came back and saw me poop. I forgot to shave my vagina and so they saw my pubic hair as well. Turns out that the toilet that I was pooping in was supposed to be used as a prop for our play and the whole classroom smelled like shit. I got sent to the principal's office. One day I went to Walmart to go shopping with my mom and I had my AirPods in because a bunch of new songs came out that day. Apparently people were able to hear the music but paid no attention to it except for this Karen right next to me. She followed me and my mom to all the aisles and eventually went to the checkout with us too. She then said, "Excuse me, your music is too loud, can you turn it off?" I whipped my big ass head backward and said, "It ain't loud enough if I can still hear you." Karen, it turns out her name was actually Karen. My mom quickly told me to shut the fuck up but I kept going at it. This bitch would not shut up so I eventually pushed her card into her and she fell and started to fake cry. Let's just say I got my ass beat with a chancla later that day. One time my boyfriend came over and we decided to do the dirty. Anyways it was great but his phone was in his pocket when he did it and he accidentally somehow but dialed 911. We were getting down and dirty and everything was going swell until we heard knocks on the door very aggressively. We thought it was the dog making noise outside the door until we heard a man yelling to open the door. We both got dressed really fast, went outside, and saw it was the police. I was scared because I thought they found out that I stole a bathing suit from Target so I started sobbing. Then they asked what was wrong and I couldn't stop crying so my boyfriend asked why they were here, and they explained they got a 911 call and heard yelling on the phone. I immediately stopped crying and ran inside the house of embarrassment and my boyfriend just said everything was fine then closed the door. Right after he closed the door he heard laughing from the police and now we know that they found out we were having sex. I'm 16 years old, and last year when I was walking home from school, I saw two little kids that couldn't be older than 9 were walking home a little bit in front of me. I assumed they were brother and sister. Anyway, me being so much bigger with longer legs, I eventually started to catch up to them. And right when I was about to turn off into my street, I noticed a car pulled up next to them and asked them to get in. My heart stopped when I heard the older one say, "But mister, we don't know you." After that I kept walking towards them and screamed out, "Lucy, Mark," because I didn't know their actual names, and they both looked at me. I ran up and said, "Guys, don't run off on me like that. Stay close." I pretended like I didn't see the car pulled up next to them and walked with them until the car drove off. They asked me who I was but I just kept telling them to be quiet until the man goes away. When the guy left I told them not to talk to strangers and walked them home. I explained to their parents what happened and I don't think I've ever seen more grateful parents. One time me and my friends snuck out of the house at night and we went to McDonald's. The employee was asking where our dad was. We didn't know what to say so we just said he was waiting in the car. Then this big muscly guy walked in and the employee asked if he was our dad and for some reason we said yes, even though we had no clue who he was. The guy paid for our food. We thanked the man and left but then he followed us out of the restaurant and told us if we didn't come with him he would stab us. We were scared so we just did what he said. We were in the back seat of his truck and we were freaking out. But my friend found a glass bottle in the backseat and smashed it over the man's head. The man fainted and we saw he had a pocket knife on his dashboard so we took it and stabbed him in the arm a few times. We got out of the car and ran back to my friend's house. To this day we haven't told the police and we don't know if the man died. Thank you for your submission. So this is the story on how I think I killed my neighbor. So we just moved into this new house, and my neighbor kept giving us her stuff and her food. One day she even gave us her underwear cause she didn't want it anymore. Mind you, she was really old and we didn't want to hurt her feelings and tell her we don't want the stuff. 8 days ago she gave us her dirty rug and my mom was not having it anymore. We knocked on her door and told her we didn't want her things. She acted like she didn't know who we were. The next day she dropped a package in front of our door. I didn't want to hurt her feelings so I waited until it was dark to throw it away. She saw me and got really sad. Her eyes started twitching and she started to have a seizure. I called an ambulance and they took her to the hospital. The next day her husband told us that her heart failed and that she had dementia. One time in 9th grade, me and my friend were coming home from school and she forgot her house key and her parents weren't home, so I climbed her 2-story house and broke in through her window, and I guess while I was doing it her neighbor saw and thought I was legitimately breaking in and called the cops. Then they showed up while we were pretending to do coke with lines of pixie stick dust, and the cops left the fucking front door open and her dog got out and she had to chase it while they interrogated me. ACAB LMAO. When I was 14 I had a boyfriend, we'll call him Parker. So anyways, he would always drive his mom's car even though he was underage, but he never got caught. So one night I snuck out to his house and we drove to a high school party because he knew a guy. So basically we got there and everyone was drinking and Parker told me to drink too so we could fit in, and I did everything he said. So I drank tequila and a couple White Claws and got drunk, and Parker was drunk too so we couldn't drive home, but it was like 4 a.m. and we had to get home before our parents woke up, so we got a ride from a designated driver and we got in a little car accident, but it wasn't that bad cause no one died, but we obviously still had to call the police and our parents. So after that night Parker and I were forced to break up and we were both grounded for 5 months. One time when I was 15 I went to the beach with my best friend and we were there all day. I ended up sleeping over at her house and before bed I chugged 2 bottles of water. I felt very dehydrated. We were sleeping in the same bed and I fucking wet the bed. I peed so fucking much it woke me up and it was all over her too. I was panicking and didn't know what to do, so I went to the fridge, got chocolate milk and poured it all over the bed and all over her and said I spilled chocolate milk and we need to wash the sheets, and she believed me. I'm 18 now and she still has no idea. Basically when I was in elementary there was this girl I hated, and she always hung out with my best friend. So I decided to make her angry somehow. She was lesbian and I knew she liked my best friend. So at recess when they hung out I kissed my best friend in front of her. She started crying. I'm dating my best friend to this day, and I don't regret it. I was once downtown getting groceries for my mother, and when I got out the store, walking towards my bike, I see a mother crossing the street, with groceries in one hand, her 3-year-old daughter in the other hand, 5-6-year-old son a bit further behind. Just as the mother has crossed the street, her son starts to cross the street as well. He didn't see the car coming towards him with about 50 kilometers per hour. A random stranger that is nearby turns his head and sees the car, and it doesn't seem to be slowing down. Instinctively he just runs to the kid and grabs him, holds him tight with his back turned towards the car. Literally half a second before impact, the windshield of the car gets smashed, and the guy holding the kid rolls over the car somehow, managing to land on his back. I run towards them to check if they're okay, and the kid is crying as well as the mother. That was the first time I called 911. The kid said his arm was hurting, but I don't know what actually happened to the guy and the kid, as I left after the ambulance came. Okay. One time I really wanted McDonald's and it was like 4 a.m. but there was a McDonald's right beside my house. So I walked there. And when I got my food I forgot money. So this guy behind me paid for it and he followed me out of the McDonald's and he said if I didn't get in his car he would kill me, and he had a knife on him and held it towards me. And I got in his car because I was scared. And then I took the knife and stabbed him in the chest like 2 times and then I ran for my life. And I don't know if he is dead or not, and I think I'm a murderer. In 6th grade me and 2 of the popular boys were sent to the classroom during lunch to decorate the Christmas tree. I was on my period at the time, so I had went to the bathroom to change my pad. When I got back the lights were off. I walked in and they wrapped ribbon around me and started to pull on it really hard. All my period blood squirted out.
One day I thought I was cool if I made out with my teddy bear, so I did. I started getting a weird feeling out of nowhere, so I thought I was pregnant. I rubbed my stomach every day until my mom asked if I was okay. I was scared she found out I was pregnant, so I said, yeah, I'm okay. Why? She said, you seem off, and I said, no, I'm good. Well, 2 months later I forgot about it till I got a feeling. I was scared my water broke, so I went to tell my mom and she called me a dumbass, then told me to stop doing stupid shit. By the way, I was 6, loudly crying.
I was on a trip with my boyfriend's family when I realized I had started my period. I didn't know that I would start, so I didn't bring any of my pads. My boyfriend's moms only had tampons and I didn't know how to use one. So my boyfriend offered to put it in me. We were on our way home from Disney on the airplane. And after a few hours I had to change my tampon, so we went into the airplane bathroom, but the tampon was stuck because he forgot to take the plastic part out before putting it in. We were freaking out and walked out with a tampon sticking out of. My cat and the flight attendants thought we were doing the deed.